afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host. And in studio with me, my main man, Jamie Angel.
What's cracking, everybody?
What is happening, man? Happy Tuesday.
Tuesday with a vengeance.
Woo, Tuesday, man. It's great. Great Tuesday. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Beal and Abear, your hometown attorneys. Give those guys a call, man. Tell them Josh and Jamie sent you. They'll take care of you. We're also broadcasting live on Rumble. Rumble, like rumble.com. Well, Rumble in the jungle. Rumble.com. Go over there. Check us out. Search the Josh Guillory Show. I want to see you. I want to see you. Chat us. All the things. And give us a little follow while you're there. We don't harass you. Okay, so, man, I was so excited. I was so excited for, I think Thursday it was. Thursday morning. You know, our friend Moon Griffon, he's on from 9 to 12 here in Acadiana, 9 to 11 other markets. I was so excited he was going to get a full hour with your buddy.
Yeah.
Senator Bill Cassidy.
Psycho Bill.
Oh, I say that's what
That's what Moon calls him.
Term of endearment, he says.
And he came back and said, can't do the hour, Moon.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes, I got to go meet with my constituents.
Yeah.
And Moon was like, nah. Thanks, but no thanks. We got lots to talk about. Come back. Let me know when you got some time.
Yeah, it's silly. So Joe Cunningham wrote this. Joe wrote an article on KPEL. You can go check it out. It's pretty fascinating, and it tells you a lot. So again, Cassidy, he was supposed to do a full hour interview with Moon this Thursday. Now his team over there, like Jamie said, they call and they're like, pump the brakes. That's not part of our plan. Remember, we can get 10 minutes worth of talking points in and zone you out. Suffocate you out. So they say, oh no, 10 minutes. Well, not a full hour, 10 minutes. And Moon says this. Moon says, no. You either come in for the full hour or you can reschedule. He offered to reschedule, which is kind of him. Cassidy completely backed out. Man, that's a miss on Cassidy's part because you had a whole audience of conservatives. We're who you need to convince, buddy. And I don't care. Well, but
not just a miss on his part.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
Let's continue. Okay, so then Cassidy jumps on Facebook. All right, because that's where you do diplomacy. And he called. Well, I can say that Trump puts enough on Truth Social. But Cassidy jumps on Facebook and he calls Moon a clout chaser.
Bruh. If Moon Griffon is anything, it is not a clout chaser. Like, come on now.
He claimed that Moon's team, well, it's really Moon. Moon's team
is Moon. Asked
for 10 minutes in the first place. No, Moon's been consistent about the hour. And, of course, Griffon says the opposite. Cassie's staff, they're the ones who shorten it, according to Moon, and I agree. Now, this feud didn't come out of nowhere. As Jamie said earlier, Moon has been calling our senator there, Psycho Bill, for a few years now. Many say warranted over some of it's psycho in the sense that you ran as a conservative, you took Trump's endorsement, you did all this, and you stab us all in the back. So it's a little psychotic, There's some objective supporting
Bates Motel action.
Jeez, man, no joke.
Stabbing people
for reals. All right, and here's the deal: we all remember Cassidy was one of the very few Republicans who voted to convict President Trump in the impeachment trial. We know that. Many don't know that he was one of the few Republicans that also sided with President Biden on the infrastructure bill and also immigration reform. We don't forget these things.
Didn't he vote to impeach him twice?
Twice? Convict? No, he voted once on the conviction.
Just once?
Yeah. Guys, I could be wrong on that. I know it's at least once, but I think it's only once. One too many.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous, and it was politics the whole way. We don't have to get into January 6th. There are plenty of things I disagree with, and I don't support charging the Capitol at all. But we've had those discussions, and we can have it maybe when we open the phone lines if somebody wants to talk about it. But Louisiana hasn't forgotten Senator Cassidy. We haven't. Cassidy's trying to rebrand now, and we knew this. We talked about it, bragging that he was the one. He was the one that helped get RFK Jr. through the committee.
No, he's the one that could have blocked it.
And almost did. So don't, man, we see through this stuff. We see through it. And the base sees through it. We all see through it. And now look, Senator Cassidy, he's facing some pretty serious challengers. You got Senator Blake Miguez right down the road from this studio. You got Treasurer John Fleming. You know, he's been campaigning, two very staunch Republicans, conservatives. You have the Public Service Commissioner, Eric Skrmetta. You have Dr. Sammy Wyatt. All four of those names, and if I'm missing someone, guys, call them in. But all four of those guys that I just rattled off are all unmistakably Trump Republicans. You can't say the same for Senator Cassidy, and that's the point here. So, got a few thoughts on this. This is Bill Cassidy doing what Bill Cassidy does. Punching right instead of fighting the left. I'll say that again. Punching right. Oh, yeah, I'm a conservative. Nothing when it comes to fighting the left. It's the same thing that many rhinos have done for years and continue to do. Side with Democrats on the big stuff, then try to convince conservatives, they're really one of us. They're one of us. Come on now. So he calls Moon a clout chaser. Well, let's be honest. Moon has just been calling him out. We know that. And he's been calling him out since 2021. That's why Cassidy doesn't want a full hour, but I think he's losing out. I know you'll get your shoes handed to you. I get it. You made the decision to vote like that, not us. You answer it. You own it. But you had a whole hour to talk to a conservative base, and who knows? Maybe you would have said something that resonated. You never know. And we will never know because you chose to chicken out. But this fight shows you where Cassidy is politically. He's boxed in. He can't run away from that impeachment vote. He can't. No, you can't. He can't run away from the Biden bills that he helped push across. I gave you two. And two big ones, by the way. And now he's reduced to Facebook posts calling Louisiana conservatives clout chasers. I mean, that's desperation. And it tells you why 2026 may be a lot more challenging to our senator than he may want to recognize. What's your take on all this? Quiet pants?
For Priscilla Gonzalez.
Be quiet, boy. She ain't running.
Well, she usually runs just about every election, so
I don't know.
she might run.
She ran for Congress too, right?
Yep.
You know, I met her. Very nice lady. Very nice lady. She goes on my Facebook post though a lot of times. Anytime I say the words illegal alien, I think her
Trigger something.
yeah, it's triggering. And it's
careful,
okay.
man.
We gotta be compassionate. But I'm just saying the truth. I didn't come up with that term. That term was made a long time ago. It's a legal term, illegal alien.
Yeah, it's in the
Illegal immigrant.
Alien and Sedition Act.
Never understood this. Why but people on the left fight, and I'm talking about the extreme left, they fight so hard to not offend. They protect the wrong people. Like, instead of protecting Americans, they would much rather protect the interests of people that hate America.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. If you don't like it here, get the heck out of here. All right.
I tell you.
Let's take a tiny little break, man. When we get back, you ever heard of the War Department? The War Department. We used to have one of those. All right, let's talk about it when we get back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the Beal and Bear Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Beal and Bear, your hometown attorneys. Give those guys a call. Beal and Bear. We appreciate the support, fellas and ladies. All right, let's go to this little topic. I think this is pretty interesting. Okay, so CBS News reports that President Trump, he is floating the idea of changing the name of the Department of Defense back to its old name, which would be the Department of War. He said the current title is too defensive. And he reminded folks that America had an unbelievable history of victory under the old name. He ain't wrong. He told reporters, we want to be defensive, but we want to be offensive too, if we have to be. Okay. So the United States, let's talk about a little history, a little facts. So the United States we used to have a War Department. And this goes all the way back to George Washington's presidency. It ran the Army while the Navy had its own department. That was like that for years until the 40s, till 1947. So after World War II, after the War Department saved the world 2 times in a row, President Harry Truman pushed to reorganize. In 1947, Congress passed the National Security Act. That combined the Army and Navy, but it also created a different branch, the Air Force, and it put them all under one roof. So it consolidated, and probably some good things with that, of course. Maybe some things that led to things we don't like. I don't know. So 2 years later, though, Congress officially renamed the War Department to the Defense Department, or Department of Defense, and that's been the name ever since. So now, President Trump is saying, hey, maybe it's time to bring back the old label. He's testing it. He's testing its speeches. The other day, I noticed he called Pete Hegseth the Secretary of War. So the legal question is this: can he do this on his own? Can he do this one unilaterally? Now, remember, we talked about executive orders yesterday. So if you want that lovely discussion, please go to rumble.com. Look at our archives from yesterday. We could talk about that, or you can listen to our discussion. But recall, the president has what's called inherent authority. So, and over the executive branch. Okay, he can direct his cabinet. He can tell them to print Department of War on letterhead, websites, press briefing. No big deal. That's an executive order, and it carries real force inside the government. But, and this is important, very important difference, Congress in this case renamed it by law. So that's a statute. Statutes outrank executive orders. That's the general rule, okay? So if Congress, now listen to this part. If Congress doesn't like the change or someone sues, a court would likely say that Congress gets the final word, I would imagine. So the short answer here, Trump can act today. Sure, he can act today, and it'll stick unless Congress steps in and says, no, we said it changed this way, or quite frankly, someone just sues. So let's talk about a few things. I wouldn't underestimate the symbolism here. I really wouldn't. Now, when I first saw this article, when I first saw the title, I was like, is that something we should be doing? It's kind of silly, a little needless fight. And then, I read the article. About halfway through, I started thinking, I was like, no, he's right. Don't underestimate the symbolism here. People around the world are not like us. People around the world are not like us. Cultures are different, and some of those countries with different cultures hate us. You know that. I know that. We know that. People aren't afraid of defense. People are afraid of war. Yes, it should be the last resort. And anybody that doesn't think that shouldn't be in power. That I promise you. But please identify some facts, some truth, some objective opinions that are right, in my opinion. But people, you scared of defense? No. Defense sounds reactive. You hit us, we'll respond. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. War sounds proactive. If you even think about messing with us, we'll crush you before it starts. And that's the culture shift Trump is highlighting. It's a mindset. A Department of Defense waits. A Department of War projects power. And Americans today, look, all of us, I think, a majority of us, Democrat and Republican, I believe a large part of us are just tired of a culture of weakness. And Trump is sending just a very tiny, simple little message here. The United States is not just a country that defends itself. It's a country that wins wars, not these prolonged nonsense that we've been getting into. So, look, whether Congress goes along or not, that's the posture he's laying down. And I think the world has been watching, but I think the world is watching now. Thoughts? You disagree with me?
Look.
Or did I compel you in my reasons?
No.
Okay. So you say keep it. All right. So it's been the Secretary of War, or he's been the Secretary of War. It's been the War Department from George Washington all the way to Truman. And then from Truman to today, it's been the Department of Defense. So we have to recognize the fact that a majority of our country's history, it's been the War Department. Go ahead.
Well, I think everyone in the world, well, most people in the world, would like to dream of a world without wars. And I think that the word in itself has some psychological impacts. And yeah, sure, people are going to be like, oh, just sounds all frou-frou crazy.
He's getting liberal, guys.
I'm not. I mean,
Not.
think about it. War,
I'm joking.
No, I know, but defense is one thing. Yeah, we're protecting the country. We're defending our homeland, yada, yada, yada. We talk about war, then that gives an indication that we're either actively in war or we're going to war, we're ready for war. And I hear you, ready for war, sure. It doesn't mean we have to be always in war posture.
Yeah.
And I think the name in itself is just going to be unsettling for some people. And I think it,
Yeah, it's going to ruffle a few feathers. So, look, hey, man, I hear you. I think a lot of folks are probably some folks would agree with you, I would imagine. And look, there are plenty of people that agree with you. There are plenty of people agree, and we got to recognize that fact too. And so, remember, who I support Trump, and I support this move. When I first saw the headline, I thought it was silly, and I thought, why are we doing this? And this is another distraction. And come on. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, nope. Our history is our history. If it's good enough for Washington, it's good enough for me. If it's good enough for the Founding Fathers, who fought a war and probably wanted no part of war. Washington wanted no part. He wanted neutrality. That was his doctrine. He wanted no war, and he named it the War Department.
It was also a baby country, an infant country that was born out of war. So, yeah, he was all about the War Department because that's just the life they lived. That's what they knew.
You can take the boy out the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. So you can take the war out of the name, but you can't take. We are made of this.
And I'm curious what other people think. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably one of the few on this end of the spectrum that feels that way. But we do have a couple of app chats. Boomer said we can now take Greenland and Panama. I don't know. I don't
get
it. And Keeping It Real says, does anyone really believe Putin cares what we call the department?
No. Yeah, no joke. Hey, you're right about that. I think it's a culture. I think it's a mindset. All right. Phone lines are going to be open. What do you guys think? Should we call it the War Department again? The War Department. Or the Department of Defense. Hey, call us, 232-1542, 844-766-6607. We'll be right back. welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We're broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios here in Acadiana. Beal and Abear, your hometown attorneys. We certainly appreciate the support over here. All right, what do y'all think, guys? War Department? Trump wants to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Said, I don't need no Secretary of Defense. I need me a Secretary of War. It's good enough for Washington, good enough for me too, Mr. Trump. All right, Mr. Bobby, what do you think? Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense?
Make Bobby the Secretary of War.
I like that idea.
Patriots. You know, if you stop and look, Trump has a rare skill in anything he does. But myself, call it anything you want. Just be ready for these psychopaths and killers.
Yep. You're right about that. I will tell you, though, if my choice, I don't like the name defense. I really don't. It really does feel like reactive. You know, we're going to defend. Well, okay, fine. Trump said it pretty plainly. Yeah, we want to defend, but we want to be on the offensive, too. And the greatest defense is offense, a great offense.
We also don't want to be the Department of starting stuff, you know. Defense is good because we don't go out actively looking for war, but we will defend ourselves if war comes to us.
Yeah, that's passive in my opinion.
You know what the 13th commandment is, huh?
Oh, what's that?
Thou shalt defend thyself. I'm out.
Mr. Bobby.
And I just have a question.
What'd you get?
Why 13? There were 10.
Because he's probably got two more that we probably shouldn't hear.
And he probably wanted us to ask. Family show. It's a family show.
We got, speaking of families, our online family's coming in hot today.
Yeah, I want to hear from you guys. Come on now.
Joe Blow from Roberts Cove. Yeah.
I love it out in Roberts Cove.
German fast and all. It says change Department of Defense to Department of FAFO.
If you give him that idea, it might happen. That's our nickname.
See, that's a good one. Like, we ain't starting that. Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff, you know?
Secretary of FAFO.
Kill Switch says, good afternoon, gentlemen. Some things are better left alone. Department of Defense is fine. Such squabbles when there's so much more that needs to be done. When do the tariffs help us, normal folk wise? Lights so high, yeah. You know, you get it.
Yep.
And then Billy from
who was that? That was Kill Switch?
That was Kill Switch.
Yeah, good points. Good. Oh, let's go one at a time.
Sorry.
He's doing good. Doing so good.
My bad.
Oh, you're good, bud. Kill Switch. That's good points. Good points. On the hey, look, if it stays Department of Defense, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But if you give me the option between defense and war, I'm choosing the Secretary of War. And I'm talking to you as someone who hates war.
Warmonger.
Yeah, so the least of that. I listen, and Trump gets it. For someone never serving, it's interesting. He gets it. War has got to be the last. It's a balance. It's such a tricky little balance. Yes, war has got to be the last resort. Last resort. Absolute last resort. But you got to balance that policy decision. You got to balance that with some massive, massive strength that you cannot fake. And some of this is psychops. You know that. Some of it's psychological operations. I get it. Where's the mentality? Yeah, I know. Where's the mentality? The mentality. Are we on the defensive, Department of Defense, or are we on the offensive? But look, whether it calls Secretary of War or not, I just don't like Department of Defense. I just don't like that. That's just me. Now, if it stays the same, I will think of this topic no more or no less than I am right now. But it's interesting. And I don't know. If it was good for 2/3 of our country's history, then it should be good now. But
DOD works better than DOW. Oh, the Dow. Now we're going to be confused with Wall Street.
Yeah.
Well, Billy from Church Point.
It's pronounced dough.
He's got a good idea. Says, call it the Department of Moon. Bill C is already scared of it.
Let's go to the phone lines.
Big Chris.
Big Chris. Department of War, Department of Defense.
Well, I got two things, but I'll address that first. To me, it really doesn't matter. I kind of like what you're saying. You know, war puts out more of a strong feeling. But we have to be the strongest on the planet. I mean, on the plains of the Serengeti, the lions don't go after the strongest zebra. They go after the weak one.
Thank you.
So if we call it the war, Department of War, Department of Defense, we better be the baddest defense or baddest war department they got.
That's right.
Secondly, addressing Cassidy, he's thinking like I think it was Stalin that said, "I can pluck a chicken's feathers all off, and if I give it feed, he'll still come back to me." I think it was him that said that. So Bill Cassidy must be thinking we're like the dang chickens, stupid that he's gonna pluck us when he votes against Trump and the things we want, and then think we're gonna give him our vote after. He's horribly wrong, especially with this Cajun.
Woo, Big Chris. Man, I bet you summarize what a lot of folks are thinking right now. And no offense to our senator. Hey, you're welcome. Didn't you invite him to come on?
Who? I did. Oh, I invited him to come on Thursday. In fact,
will be very nice.
I said, look, if you don't
Very
want to go
nice.
on Moon, you can come on our show.
Absolutely.
If it's only 10 minutes, I guess we'll maximize that.
Yeah, we'll get the other ones on too. For 10
We'll
minutes.
ask the good questions.
Look, you know me. I'm not going to sharpshoot anybody. Hey, look, but I'll ask the questions, and then you're responsible for what comes out of your mouth. All right, who we going to? Kevin from the motherland. What's up, Kevin?
All right, let's just call it the War Department because that's what the president wants.
Got it.
And as far as Clueless Cassidy goes, I'm kind of disappointed in Jamie because he has two super good friends that could phone in if Cassidy gets on your show. And that would be Senator Graham and Martha Jean. And Martha
we
Jean
don't let Martha Jean
could
talk.
yeah, but Martha Jean could cause more problems because I heard a rumor down here in the motherland that Clueless Cassidy was Martha Jean's date to her high school homecoming. And he don't want her calling into y'all's show. That's what that refute.
It makes a lot of sense about Martha Jean.
Now, in high school, she had a little issue with Spike and the Punch.
Martha Jean was a looker back in the day.
That's what I was about to say. Like something,
God,
yeah. Like Cassidy had a good taste then, but now he knows.
I think that he's the reason she might be like that.
Well, that's what Keevan's saying. That's what he's saying. He don't want that to come out. Well, Keevan, you are a good private detective over there. Good thoughts. Thanks, Keevan. Appreciate you. Who we going? You got it. Warren, what you got, Warren? Bring the heat today. Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense.
I think they should call it the Department of Cremation and Disintegration.
Whew. Okay. How's that acronym?
Just wipe them out. Trump say he's about a law. He's a president of the law and order. Well, he needs to get to Louisiana quick because we got nothing but law and disorder.
In multiple places. Hey, thanks, Warren. Multiple places. I hope we get our act right. I really, we can, and we will. Let's just keep on.
Lower the insurance. God dang it!
Well, Moon told you how to do that. Just move out of state.
I'll be phoning it in.
You know what I'm not. I'll say this later. Let's go to Renee. Renee, what you got, man?
Our country has a history of not knowing what the proper definition of things are. It should always have been like it been before the Department of War. Just like they don't know what a man and a woman is. That's the problem. That stuff started a long time ago. Like I said, Jimmy Carter was the first walking chief, and Obama was the first queen in chief.
Renee, now come on. Thanks. I'm going to say this. Thank you, Renee. I don't know how to take that last one, but I will say this. I appreciate your call and everybody else's. We're going to keep those phone lines open. 232-1542, 844-766-6607 for our audience outside of Acadiana. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Beal and Abear, your hometown attorneys. Go check them out. Give them a call. Tell them we sent you, and we certainly appreciate the support from that wonderful firm. All right, let's see here. Let's go back to the phone lines. 232-1542 outside of Acadiana area. Look at this number right. Whoa, there we go. 844-766-6607. All right, Miss Tony. We want a Secretary of War. We want a Secretary of Defense. What you got?
I think we should go back to the Secretary of War.
That's what I'm talking about.
First and foremost on your mind, you're going to avoid it at all costs. You know what the consequences are.
Yes.
So quit rattling your swords and talking tough, because war is an option.
Woo! It's a mindset. Peace through strength. War is horrible.
Yeah.
Anybody that's seen it more than likely will say do everything you can to avoid that and eliminate that off the face of the earth. But we have folks around the world that hate us. And Secretary of War, the War Department, if it was good enough for Washington and our founders, it's good enough for me.
Could we talk about something Chris had to say about Cassidy?
Yes.
I'm curious. I'm curious. The closed primary, I had it down pat. Julie Emerson's bill. You have the primary early in the year. You come down to a runoff between all the multiple candidates we're going to have, and you're going to have two Republicans to vote for, and then in the summer, you're going to know. You'll have had your runoff, and you'll know who your Republican candidate is. And you campaign for them all summer, and you get into fall, and you're up against a Democrat. But they started messing around with that in the Senate, and I don't know what they ended up with.
They didn't change anything.
So, well, no, the Senate changed everything. So the House. All right. So this was a House bill. The bill that came out of the House was beautiful. It was great. Every election in every election, from mayor to dog catcher to some of these rhinos wouldn't be in office if you had closed primaries, okay? So everything, closed primaries. Republicans, you pick your candidate. Democrats, you pick yours. There's other parties, y'all pick yours. And then everybody go to the general election. Well, when it went to the Senate watered down the entire bill. And they left it with only a handful of positions. And the U.S. Senate is one of them. And the way that this breaks down is, I think it's February, is the primary vote. So that's where Miguez, Fleming, Cassidy, Wyatt, all those guys are going to duke it out on the Republican side. That if no one gets 50% plus one vote, then you go to a runoff, just like we're used to. But it'll only be the top two Republicans. Then whoever wins that runoff becomes the nominee. And then it's one general election, no runoffs anymore for those types of elections.
She might have been referred to. Cassidy tried to change the law again.
Yes, and then so Cassidy was reported that Senator Cassidy was trying to influence the legislature to amend that to make it where it's a plurality, and I think the top two would go
runoff, and then they would go into the primary
as the top two.
They would go to a second runoff. They'd have the primary, then there would be a runoff for the primary. And then or something weird.
No, that's the current. Yeah, it was something to water it down where he gets into the general election. Let's just say this: it was something to get him into the general election. Miss Tony,
I'm sorry. I thought
you hung up on Miss Tony.
No, I thought she was done.
Oh my God. Sorry, Miss Tony.
But either way, Cassidy's gonna run in the eventual election. He doesn't just run as an independent if he doesn't win.
Can you?
Yeah. Why can't you?
Well, no, genuinely, I don't know. If qualifying, I don't know those rules. And I often wondered that because I know some states, like Lieberman did that. He lost the Democrat.
I don't think you can bar someone from running if they're not part of a
party. Well, unless that's part of the qualifying rules for the state. But this is a U.S.
crazy rules.
Yeah, this is a U.S. election, and I know Senator Lieberman did it. So, hey, he would just run as an independent.
That's what old.
If he can, I don't. In full disclosure, I don't know that law. I don't know that rule.
That's what Eric Adams is doing in New York.
Yeah,
and Cuomo, since he didn't win the Democratic primary, that socialist fellow won.
What is his name?
Mamdani.
Zoran Mamdani. Open communist, right?
Oh, very much so.
Wow.
Democratic Socialist.
I'm sorry. Let's
Sorry.
put a nice name to it. All right, go back to Miss Tony. She had a point to make.
I'm sorry, Miss Tony.
Miss Tony, but we got about 40 seconds. That was Jamie, not me.
Definition of plurality, that means that the two top vote getters, even if one has more than 50% of the vote in the, in just the primary, that means that Cassidy wants in no matter what. So I'm predicting that the boys of the LA GOP's favored boys, Eric Skermetta, and I watch them, how they treat them, and Fleming. If they get into the runoff with Cassidy, they're going to bow out. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what they're up to. Because I've watched Eric Skermetta and Fleming do some dirty deeds in the past.
Miss Tony spreading rumors.
All right, Miss Tony, we got to run.
Thanks, Miss Tony. Hey, no, look, I love when Miss Tony calls in. Look, here's the thing. Everything's possible. What she just said was maybe 10 years ago, I bet you even Miss Tony would say, if she hurt herself 10 years ago, she would say, no way, Jose. Things are different. I'm not saying that she's right, and she's saying that's what she heard, and a lot of, hey, there's weird things going on. But I know there was a push to make it easier for Cassie to get into the general. Now, whatever happens, that's what I'm talking about. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. I can't wait till hour number 2. afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show. I remain your grateful host. In studio with me still, my main man, Jamie Angel.
What is happening?
Man, what's happening?
Just another Tuesday.
Hey, good to see you again.
You too.
That was like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Man, golly. Hey, thanks to all our callers, chatters. Man, y'all rocked that last hour. Made it way better than we could ever do. So thank you so much. We'll open up those phone lines again at the bottom half of this hour. Let's switch gears. All right? Now, the Federal Reserve, interest rates, the economy, tariffs, all these things. Okay? All these things moving around. Let's talk about the Federal Reserve first. Let's just talk about that entity. You know, how did we get here? When we talk about these entities, like, oh, it's just the Fed. You know, oh, it's the Federal Reserve chairman. But how did we get here? So the Fed, as we call it, Federal Reserve, was created in 1913. That was Woodrow Wilson. President Wilson signed it into law after the so-called Panic of 1907.
I remember that.
Back then, the bankers, the elites, they convinced Washington that America needed a central bank to stabilize the system. Go read on that. We talked about Washington earlier. Go read up on Washington's cabinet. Go read on the debates between Hamilton and Jefferson on this one issue. Go check that out and look at the debates, not just those two gentlemen, but other folks. Go look at the concerns of a centralized bank. Even today, we'll say, we don't have a central bank. No. Well, we do. It's the Federal Reserve. We do. So anyway, yeah, but they wanted the bankers, the elites, they convinced Washington we need a central bank to stabilize the system. Oh, yes, of course. We must grow government and we must grow big government. Oh, but no, it's not government. It's the Federal Reserve. Man, come on. Come on. Then why are you
independent?
Then why are you using $2.5 billion of taxpayer dollars to renovate a building?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
that's
if you're
just
not
this phase
public.
of it. That's just this phase.
That's crazy, man. $2.5 billion the Federal Reserve is using your dollars to renovate their office. It's the Federal Reserve.
What do we need them for again?
Man.
Do we need them?
Man. Something needs, hey, you start talking about that, that's assassination words. I'm serious. There's deep players in this. But let's go with strength and courage.
You're not going to assassinate me.
Hey, you start talking about decentralizing that bank.
I tell you what, though,
You talk about
glass
changing,
in this studio.
Yeah, you talk about changing currency and stuff. That's some deep words with these folks.
Digital.
There's some deep. No, do not.
I'm kidding.
No, but no. Many people will think that, and cryptocurrency is not digital currency.
Oh, I'm big on going back to the gold standard.
Absolutely,
100%.
Yeah. Well, the Federal Reserve. I wonder who supported getting off of it. These knuckleheads. What they really did back then, 1917. Okay. What they really did, what really happened, was they handed Wall Street a safety net and handed Congress a piggy bank. Ever since, the Fed has been one of the most powerful and least accountable institutions in the United States of America. They control interest rates. They decide how much money to pump into the system. They've bailed out big banks. They've fueled bubbles. They've crushed savings. They've destroyed the value of our dollar. They were asleep at the wheel during the Great Depression. Yeah, remember that? Federal Reserve? They stoked the inflation in the 70s. They inflated the housing bubble of the 2000s. And they printed trillions during COVID. Every family in Louisiana and across our country paying higher grocery bills. Thank you, Fed, for the Fed stability. Thank you for taking us off the gold standard and replacing it with something that gets us to where we're at. And it's always the same scam, if you don't notice. When the economy's good, the Fed pats itself on the back. Oh, yeah. When it's bad, they say we need more power. If we only had more legislation, if we only had more power, if you only made us grow, if we only had $2.5 billion innovations. And in all that, when the whole we need power thing, who gets hurt? The working men and women. That's who. The regular folks. The people that actually fuel this doggone country. The people that actually make the spirit of the country. Not these elites that live in a bubble. The Fed has been broken for a long time. But the working men and women who actually play by the rules, that's who get hurt. All of us who play by the rules, we're the ones that get hurt. The Fed is the perfect example of what happens when you let unelected elites run your economy. And now, this, 2025, the fight between the president and the Fed is right at center stage. Right at center stage. So let's turn to an article that we stumbled on, okay? Fortune's Eleanor Pringle. Kind of like Eleanor Rigby. Yeah, I was stuck on the Eleanor part. I don't know.
Eleanor Rigby.
That's what I was. Eleanor Rigby. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Yeah, there we go. Everybody in the car is like, "Would y'all stop?"
Where do they?
I like it. Fortune's Pringle reports that President Trump has moved to fire the Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. Okay, all right. Trump accused her of misrepresenting mortgage agreements, claiming 2 primary residences. Cook denies wrongdoing and says she won't be bullied. Wall Street reacted pretty fast. Where are we at now? Did you see it? I can't see it up. It's up.
She's suing.
Yeah, but the Wall
Street's up. It closed up 140 points.
Yeah, this came out earlier, and there was actually some discussion on, what's the market going to do? Because that's
fine.
Honestly fair, because that is the question we've asked over the last 10 to 15, 20 years. I think the only difference is the under this tariff state, it's actually being more stable.
In all fairness, though, some big news came out this afternoon that really probably helped boost the markets. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are now engaged.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. GDP just 5%.
No, I'm not kidding. That is going to boost the market.
Get out of here.
No, and, they were talking about on the radio. I don't remember if it was Eric Erickson, but he said she's brilliant because she's going to release her new album in October. But now that she's engaged, she's going to write some new engagement songs. She got to write about it. And then she's going to release the
engagement album.
No, she's going to release a special edition of this album with new engagement tracks.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Eric Erickson on a lot, but I think he's right on that one.
So you think the market responded to the Kelce Swift engagement announcement?
I say with the market, you never freaking know.
I will agree with you on that. Or just like an everyday day for the Federal Reserve. I don't know. I don't know.
The market
I
lives
don't
and
know what
breathes
to do
with people's emotions, so I imagine the excitement helped propel the stock market up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this some more. All right, take a tiny little break.
We can do that.
Take a tiny little break. We get back and shocker here. Cook was a Biden appointee. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear studios here in Acadiana. Beal and Abear, your hometown attorneys. Good guys over there, great staff, man. Check them out. Tell them Josh and Jamie sent you. If they can't help you, they will definitely point you in the right direction. And again, we certainly appreciate the support. All righty, let's see here. Let's go back to our topic, okay? So we're talking about the Federal Reserve. We kind of gave a little history last segment, and we're talking about one of the governors that Trump did fire, right?
Well, he removed her.
Okay, yeah, all right. So now her name's this is Governor Lisa Cook, okay, Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. So Cook again was a President Biden appointee. Shocker. And she has been voting to hold interest rates steady at for a while now. Okay, and that's driven Trump a little crazy. Not just her, in her defense, not just her, because he's been pretty open that he thinks that the Fed is holding back the economy. They're the reason. He's also threatened to fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell's been in the news more than Jerome Powell's probably ever wanted to be in the news. He's the Fed chair, and he was already thrilled when another Biden appointee, Miss Kugler over there, resigned earlier this summer. So this is the second shakeup, basically. So you had Jerome Powell, you had this other guy, lady. Now analysts are split, which probably is a good thing for the people because they're usually 100% on the Fed or any government side. All right, analysts. Okay, whatever that means. But they're split, according to this article. UBS says the firing is completely unprecedented. Well, so is our economic affairs. Unprecedented times call for unprecedented solutions, action. Like, this is what I don't understand. Even if you don't like what the president's doing, can we at least agree that what we were doing was not working?
Never. They're never going to agree.
But not these elites in the Federal Reserve, but I'm talking to my fellow Americans that are identifying as Democrat. I'm just saying, there are certain things that we should be able to agree with. So we don't have to agree that President Trump is doing the right thing. I think he is, but we don't have to agree on that. But if we can't agree that what we were doing was broken, then we have bigger problems than the solutions. And those solutions will be on shaky foundations. We've got to cure that in our country. I don't know how. I think just keep speaking truth and putting our guards down and maybe recognizing that everything can't be a value. Values are small. I mean, they're huge, but they're small in number and big in weight. I'm pro-life. I believe it's hard to get me off of that one. Okay? Hard. I'm open to the few exceptions, maybe, but it's hard to even convince me on that. Okay, that's a value. All right, but man, that's one where I'm dug in the sand. Okay, or whatever it is. I dug that line in concrete, by the way. But okay, so that's something that I'm not going to budge on. But man, not everything's a value. Not everything's a value. But we got to at least be able to agree what we were doing with this trade, what we were doing with the interest rates, what we have been doing with the Federal Reserve for more than 100 years now, just over 100 years. Something's wrong. When we got off the gold standard, something changed. Look back. Look, it's all public. Something's changed. Something has changed, But yeah, UBS, they warned that this looks like a direct assault on Fed independence. That's what UBS says. Well, who's protecting the Americans then? Okay? Because what I feel like right now is we're under direct assault. We're under direct assault from every angle of our federal government right now. And our founders knew this would happen. We got to worry if the FBI is in our business backyard and everything. We got to worry about if we piss off the wrong person, is the DOJ going to knock on our door? That's anybody. Because if they can do these things to Trump, who has way more resources than I have, than a lot of us have, and a lot more political clout than any of us, if they can do that to him, who are we? You see? So, he made a comment one time They're not they are not after us, or excuse me, after him. They're after us. He's just in the way, and I believe that. I believe that.
They have a very big confusion when it comes to values versus mores, right? Values are these things that these general beliefs and principles that we just strive for, and mores are behaviors that society basically leads you to believe are values, but instead they're just really good trained behaviors that push those certain wants of that community. But it's not a value, it's a more.
Okay, very nice. Well, former Fed economists say it's dangerous what's happening here, the president, that it could weaken the dollar. Said by someone who weakens the dollar and raise commodity prices. What have you been doing? Like, really? On the other hand, though, Wharton, pretty good establishment. Wharton's Jeremy Siegel says that this is mostly noise, that the real story is Powell's recent shift in policy and whether rate cuts come fast enough. I agree with that. All right. So a few little thoughts here, just a little. First, remember this. Trump is not wrong that the Fed has way too much unchecked power. Take the party out. Take Democrat or Republican out. And look at that statement objectively and look at the facts. I think that most people would agree. We don't even know if we are right in our disagreement with the Federal Reserve because there's so much unchecked power and a lack of transparency that fuels this. We know this bubble is going to bust. We know that. We know our currency goes through a change every 100. So, like, currency in general takes pretty big changes every, quarter of a millennia, every 100 to 200 years, 250 years. Really, there's just a significant shift. I mean, we're not trading bones anymore or stones, not yet. But look, Trump is not wrong that this unchecked power has just been there, okay? For over a century. Like, really, really, really dive into this. The Federal Reserve has manipulated, by design, good, bad, or ugly, by design, manipulated our economy with zero accountability. That part is where folks are having a problem. We are a democratic republic. Our folks get to choose our leaders. It's a great concept. I know the bureaucrats don't get that. I get it. You get it. But the elites don't get that. The Fed was never supposed to be a fourth branch of government. Never. Never, never, never. But here's the tension. If the White House openly fires Fed governors for political reasons, markets do typically panic. Okay? That didn't happen today. Investors don't care about right or wrong. They want predictability. But again, the Dow and the markets look good. So it's like everything we're seeing is not what usually happens. And that's kind of been a common denominator. So yes, the dollar dropped. Gold jumped. That's what happens when markets think institutions are unstable, though. You see what I'm saying? And also, we shouldn't forget this either. Those same institutions, the storied institutions, they have wrecked working families over and over again. Wall Street cries about scapegoat economics. Tired of hearing that. Well, maybe. But who's been scapegoating the doggone American worker for decades?
Yeah.
The Fed. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios here in Acadiana. Beal and Abear, your hometown attorneys, really good guys over there, great staff. They're going to take care of you. Give them a call, Beal and Abear. All right. Phone lines are open, 232-1542. 844-766-6607 for our viewing audience and listening audience outside of Acadiana. We certainly appreciate you for sure. Thank you, thank you. All right, got a serious question now that the phone lines are open. Now I know what y'all. Now I know you're gonna know what I'm talking about. The surprise lady.
Surprise, surprise.
What's her name? That's the question to the audience. Who knows that lady's name? It ain't Martha Jean.
Hey, you know that the JetBlue, they've been playing that song on TikTok. And hold my hand, and it's like, oh, you too can go on a JetBlue holiday.
Oh, okay.
Have you not heard that one? Anyway, I finally heard the whole song that goes with it. I didn't know it was a real song.
You dancing?
Well, never mind if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's just goofy at this point.
I think, hey, young man, it takes a lot to sing on the radio.
This caller may not know the song either.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Caller, you're live. Warren. What's up, Warren?
Well, it's when Barbara Jean turns into Bubba Jean and Jamie goes missing. That's when I get nervous.
Oh, Martha Jean, she's harmless. She ain't got no teeth.
Hey, they ought to rename the Fed. You're talking about renaming stuff?
Yeah.
They ought to rename the Fed the KKK, and then the Democrats would demand us to get rid of them.
The Democrats were the KKK.
You know, they enslaving all the American people. They got us enslaved, and the money's going to the slave masters in the Bank of England, so just get rid of the whole thing.
Oof.
You think we're still fighting?
Hey, look, that's crazy times. All right, who we going to?
Let's go to this guy.
Justin, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Hey, one thing that you forget, though, that if it wasn't for the steady hand of the Federal Reserve in 92, 2008, and 2020, this country would have crashed.
Yeah, look.
At the end of the presidencies of all those Republicans.
Well, that no one can argue with those significant time periods. I genuinely don't know if the Fed helped or hurt us. And look, I would have agreed with you 5 years ago, okay? And I will also say this, a lot of people agree with what Justin just said. So in full disclaimer, this is a split decision on this. Some people agree, some people don't. But and I'm glad Jeff called because I also want to take the opportunity. There has been good. The Federal Reserve has provided stability. I will say that. And look, I grew up and I was raised to respect the Federal Reserve and to appreciate its perceived neutrality. The only problem is, as we look back, that was all false.
Well, and a point of clarification on Justin's comment.
Mm-hmm.
He was right about 2020, but he also forgets that Donald Trump was the president in 2020, and interest rates were extraordinarily low in starting in, I want to say 2018 into 2021. When Biden became president, that's when we started to see the rapid increase in our interest rate.
And also you see the consequences of choices in an economy. Take local. Usually that local economy, it's about a year or two. It resonates for about 2 years, okay? And it can put you on a trajectory. That's good. Good or bad. States, I would say, man, 3 years, you feel it. A president or the national, like the Fed, I don't know, a couple years.
Guess where they didn't feel it?
Whoa.
Lafayette Parish.
That's because of the people, man. That's the people. We just got the government out the way. All right, let's see it. Renee, what's up, Renee? Talk some sense here, baby.
Well, Greenspan, I think the Fed's not really part of the government. They just treat it like it's part of the government.
They're just funded by the government and not checked by the government and given unfettered access by the government.
CDC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All those good agencies.
Greenspan was more worried about the money stability than his success for and anybody after that. They were about woke politics instead of money. You worried about money? That's your job. Worry about only money.
Exactly, which is bipartisan. Bipartisan. I love the idea of an independent deal like that, but it's just not.
Greenspan was married to Andrea Mitchell.
Yeah.
Andrea Mitchell's like
That's a good-
old school journalist, like from back in the day.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Facts used to matter.
Yeah.
Bobby, what's up, Mr. Bobby?
Yeah, wasn't it Nixon took us off the gold standard?
Was it Nixon?
I don't
I
remember.
thought it was Carter.
No, it wasn't Carter.
Wasn't Carter?
Yeah, it might have been Ford. I don't know.
Yeah, what's that cat that's running in New York mayor? Is he claims himself as a Democrat socialist?
Yeah,
Yes.
Zoran Mamdani.
I always called him Mwandi, but he's Mandani.
Yeah, well, if you remember, that's what Adolf Hitler and his gang were, Democrat socialists.
That's true.
And they turn around and they yell at Trump's a Nazi. They need to look in the mirror because that's what they are, Democrat socialists.
Man, Mr. Bobby,
Same as Hitler.
those guys in the media, those guys in the political sphere, usually when they're not the media, but the political sphere, if they're the ones saying that so and so did something, they're usually the ones that did it.
I mean, do we need to remind people that United Soviet Socialist
Yeah.
Republic?
Yeah, exactly. But man, it's just Mr. Bob. I don't understand how anybody like at this point could call Trump a fascist. I get the National Guard thing, but like really,
I know the solution. It's called low IQ, minus 17.
notice how he outs us.
I know, but he does that so I know when he.
Yeah.
actually
Okay.
does.
Okay. Got
I'm
it. So it's
guessing, I'm
a
guessing.
professional
Yeah,
courtesy.
He's tired of me hanging up on it.
He's like, Angel, I'm outing you.
Yo, stop, son.
And I'm hanging up before you can do it. Okay, I get it. Hey,
His little mic drop.
I love it. It's that's right. He has his mic drop, warm, and everybody has their mic. All of them. If I started listing all of our wonderful callers, we'd be here till Thursday. All right. Yeah. So, man.
Oh, are you going to do the Pete and Bobby challenge?
What is that?
So our Health and Human Services Secretary,
Yeah, and our Secretary of War
has challenged
Yes!
the Secretary of
War.
to a pull-up and push-up and I believe sit-up competition.
Man, RFK is about to smoke him.
How many they can do? I think it's in 10 minutes. Like, come on, man, do a PT test.
Yeah,
Oh, 2 minutes. Push-ups, sit-ups, 2 mile
But
run.
it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes. I think they got to do like 500 of each. That's easy. In over 10 minutes?
I don't know. I hadn't done that. Seems like it's hard.
No.
Anyway, but those two, boy, what a the tale of two different cabinets. You got men dressing up as women in Biden's cabinet. You got two men of different parties challenging each other to a sit up or whatever the heck it is.
It's a
pull
man's government.
up. Unless you're a woman, then it's totally woman and man. Two genders.
Just saying, I got big feet. Well, that's what it is.
Let's take a break. Hey, when we come back,
You
ever heard?
a minute and a half early?
Oh, good. Can I can yeah, cause yeah, I wanna do that
all right,
because
all right.
we're gonna talk about Cracker Barrel.
Oh,
Cracker. Hey man, there's
somebody
boy,
call Sidney Sweeney.
Some folks are mad, man, about this Cracker Barrel thing. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Bill and A Bear Studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're also broadcasting live on Rumble. Get over there on rumble.com. See us out, check us out, and you can also check out old podcasts as well. And give us a little follow, give us a little share. We certainly appreciate you.
I got a T-Don.
T-Don bringing it.
In Paulbro, he says, we only got one cracker left. The one on the Cracker Jack box and maybe Mr. Clean.
Come
Anyone
on.
claim him yet?
Mr. Clean. Man, come on, T-Don. I just
so racist.
T-Don.
T-Don. It was funny.
I don't know what T-Don's talking
Listen,
about.
what is the big deal with with Cracker Barrel? Who cares that
All
much?
right, let's cover it, though. It might be.
All right.
I'm just saying there's a big tiff.
Yeah.
The big old
Y'all
traca.
just bored is what's going on.
Big old traca over there. All right, so Sarah Gray reports, Insider, by the way. Insider's Sarah Gray. She's reporting that Cracker Barrel has stirred up a storm over its new logo. The longtime old-timer, as he's referred to, it's Uncle Herschel. Show that man some respect. Did you know his name?
I had no idea.
I didn't know his name either.
Herschel.
So the Cracker Barrel old-timer, that's his nickname.
And let's stop calling him a cracker, okay? I don't think that was the intent, that he's the cracker sitting next to the cracker. Y'all need to put that out your heads already.
Who's Uncle Herschel? He's just that cracker on the Cracker
he's the
Barrel.
cracker from Cracker. Like, come on now.
Uncle Herschel.
Uncle Herschel.
So he's the guy, when you look at the logo, he's the guy sitting in a chair leaning against a barrel. If you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So he's gone from the logo for the first time.
I will never eat it there again.
First time since 1977. So this comes out, this decision, it's implemented, and fans notice.
Boy, did they.
They lit up the internet, the World Wide Web, with complaints. They weren't having it. They were upset. Cracker Barrel, though, they heard them. And they responded yesterday. You see, they feel their pain, saying that they love the old-timer too. That's a quote. They love the old-timer too. And they promise he's not going anywhere.
Well, thank goodness.
Just not in the logo.
I could not order my biscuits and gravy without looking at Uncle Herschel.
They said this. They said Uncle Herschel is still on the menu. He's on roadside billboards and in the country store.
He's delicious.
And look, they say that his, quote, favorite breakfast platter is even back on the menu. Hey, that was a big deal, man. Just saying. What do you think, folks? What you looking at over there?
I'm looking up something. You know the actor James Woods?
No.
Yeah, you do, that guy.
Okay.
Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, he tweeted, and he is never going back to Cracker Barrel. I have to find you.
Uncle Herschel is like personal to him.
Like, y'all, what is going on in the world that y'all are freaking out so bad about Cracker Barrel?
And what's this guy's name, Mr. Woods? Okay, Mr. Woods, Uncle Herschel didn't get fired. He just got demoted. He ain't having it, though.
Yeah, well, it's...
It has caused a little tiff. It has caused just a little tiny little tiff. Hey, let's go to another tiff. All right, we can move on past this. I want to try to squeeze this in. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, Governor Pritzker over there. Pritzker, Illinois. So him and Trump are at it. And Governor Pritzker's mad at President Trump. And why, you might ask? Because Trump cracked another joke about his weight. Trump told reporters Pritzker he ought to spend more time in the gym. And Pritzker, I see the logo. Oh, anyway, that is funny. Okay, Craig.
Spadoni,
I like
put his
Craig.
Buster Beat King thing.
I like it, Craig. That was pretty good. That was good. Pritzker fired back, though, and says it takes one to know one.
Where are...
This
Twilight
is a governor and a president. Now, come on now.
Daggone Twilight Zone.
So here's kind of the story beneath the little jokes. Pritzker is also upset because Trump has been talking about sending the National Guard into Chicago, and his ego's hurt. Let me tell you something. There's a history of certain Democrat governors wanting to take control over everything and leaving people high and dry. You might want to read history, Mr. Governor. Just saying.
Like 20 years ago.
I'm just saying, it's a little anniversary. So, Pritzker says that's abusing power because Illinois never asked for federal help. We just had this. We just ran this play. Like, you just ran this play with Newsom. It was challenging the courts, and the court said he absolutely can.
But I know what he's doing now. I'm on to Trump's plan.
All right.
He's just basically so that they take it upon themselves to hurry up and police everything up.
Thank you.
And I'm cool with that.
If that's what it takes. Exactly. So look, we know the deal. Look, behind the jokes, though, he's making this a point. He is making this point very clear. These cities are drowning in crime. Who can argue against that? Their leaders refuse to act. Who can argue against that? That said, I personally don't hand out blank checks for federal muscle. So the National Guard should only be used in extreme cases, extreme cases, quick in, quick out, and it should be that state's guard, unless you're talking about something on the scale, natural disasters, Katrina, things like that, where, although they should have been there sooner, but anyway. Man, I just, I just think it's funny that his comeback was that.
Takes one to know one.
Man.
I know you are, but what am I?
It's so, come on, Governor. Take the help. Clean up your city. Or actually do it yourself. Now, now I don't know if Trump's going to mobilize. We could talk. We're running out of time. We could talk more about that tomorrow. But, man, look, a lot of good stuff happening, though. We had some funny things.
I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you.
That's right. All right, guys, thank you so much for making this a great